Phil Tufnell's with us in the studio. Yeah, big win for them last night. I mean, they're under the cosh a bit when they got a goal back, Sevilla, and they were under the cosh a bit, but rode it out pretty well. And good result that away, Phil, isn't it, in the Champions League? Yeah,
there's always been a connection between Arsenal and Middlesex, I think. With Compton and
goes back, correct. Dennis Compton that was back in the day when you used to play a bit of cricket and then in the winter play a bit of football. You can't do that
They
now.
definitely couldn't do that.
the idea of playing both like that professionally.
There's been a few.
Yeah, there has. Yeah.
Over.
Chris Balderston didn't he? Chris played for Carlisle, didn't he?
That's right.
Yeah, went on to umpire, didn't he?
And Beefy always says that he played for Scunthorpe.
I think there is film of him playing. There is film of him playing.
There is.
I can't think of many more though. Not, I mean, beyond Dennis
Jim
Compton.
Standen, he played in goal for Arsenal and Worcester.
Yeah.
He played for Jack Birkinshaw.
Jackie Perkinshaw might
Did
have
he?
done it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
quite
so.
sure. But yeah, there was it back in the day, but as you say, the itineraries now.
Pele, he was tremendous bowler.
Pele was,
Leggy. Was he a leggy?
He was.
Tricky.
That'd be amazing.
Very good wrong un.
Pushkas would have been slow left arm in the later years, wouldn't he? Definitely
I'm
slow
going to make a
left arm.
confession before we move on to the rest of the book, but I once went for dinner with a mutual friend of ours, Joe Cubitt.
Yes.
Who you'd stayed with for a while.
Yes.
And you'd left your England shirt there. And he said to me, "Do you want Phil Tufnell's England shirt?"
Yes.
I went, "Yeah, all right, why not?"
Have
I
you
wore
got
it. I wore it in Middlesex Division 4. It was tremendous.
We don't look anything like him, so.
Had the old number on it.
Is it this point you
I
say?
don't know what happened to it. I don't know.
So you've not brought it in?
I would have brought it back, but I don't know what happened.
You say that now.
No.
Could have had plenty of opportunities to bring it back. Could have put it in the post.
You'll be drying the car off
Yeah,
after you watch it. Really.
give it a bit of a buff once you've got the old turtle wax on it. Now, a few things going on in the world of cricket, one of which is this World Cup, which hasn't quite, we are bottom of the table, which doesn't help. But you heard what Joe Root talking about this format. Andy, you touched on it the other day, that it's an odd format, 50 over the cricket. It's kind of got left behind a bit, hasn't it?
I love Joe Root, but I thought his quotes were just bonkers. I mean, he basically saying, we're not playing enough 50 over cricket. What we should do perhaps is play more of that, less T20, but not touch the 100. I'm thinking, no, that doesn't make any sense, because we'll go to a T20 World Cup and be useless like we are, and no one else plays the 100, so there's not going to be a 100 World Cup. I didn't understand that thinking.
I know what you mean. It hasn't been a great series for us. It looks like the boys have slightly forgotten how to play it. I mean, it's sort of simple as that. They're still going out there with that sort of mindset. Like it is a T20 game, and it's
the middle overs that are a problem. And
it hasn't caught fire.
No, the games have been so one-sided.
Yeah,
really,
they have. So they need to sort of have a little look at it for sure. But no, there's been a few interesting decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys against South Africa looked like they'd been out there for days, didn't they? Let alone 50 overs, and we won the toss and decided to go out.
That was brilliant, wasn't it?
Stand in the sun.
I know.
But then the coach went, "Well, the stats. Don't forget the stats. What about the weather?"
I know, absolutely. And use your brain a little bit. The guys have got a little bit sort of. I won't say just stats driven, but I mean, you need to go out there and use your nous and use your ability and experience as a cricketer. If the sun's shining and it's an absolute belter, have a bat, get a score and put the pressure on. They did it against Afghanistan as well and just handed them the conditions a bit. So, there's been
the
a few...
test team are doing that because I think they're encouraged to do that. There's more of a freedom. I think this coach obviously believes in stats and that makes him...
I think the point was being made, it might have been a Telegraph today, point being made that we don't dominate for long, England. We do well in a format for a while, not like the Aussies did. We do well in a format for a while, then we drop off and say, well, we better pick up on the other formats we're not doing as well in.
I mean, the talent's there. The talent's there. It just doesn't seem to have sort of gelled together right. And as you said, there's been a few sort of strange decisions, few strange selections. I mean, to drop 3 players in one game all of a sudden, and then to chase, and you've weakened your batting lineup. I was just sort of scratching my head a little bit. So they'll have to address it. We're not out of it. We've got to be perfect from here on in. If we want to defend the World Cup, I think we've got to win the next 7 games straight. So good luck with that.
Steve Agrizovic played minor counties as well as for Coventry and Liverpool. Once bowled Sir Viv, he says, off a no ball.
That was it.
Julian, the Cobb fan,
and I'll tell you who else. Who was the Scottish goalkeeper? Oh,
Andy Goring.
Oh,
Andy played. He did.
yes,
That's
he
right. He
did.
did play. He did play cricket.
Not
Pretty decent.
goalkeepers, not goalkeepers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, that
at a
kinda
decent
makes
level.
sense, doesn't it?
And Eusebio pictured in the national press playing cricket at Stork Cricket Club in Harlow.
Eusebio.
It's not quite the same. He didn't turn out for the club, did he? Wasn't the overseas pro or anything. So what else am I going to say? Oh, yes, central contracts very quickly. We've been hearing about that last couple of days. Joffre's got a couple of years. Mark Wood's got 3.
Yeah.
We've quick to sign that.
Yeah.
But Ben Stokes just signed 1 at the moment. Going to leave his options open for next year when they're shaking things up a bit.
Well, perhaps. So I think that might be a tactical ploy. To perhaps try and wheedle a few more quid out of them. But who knows? But I think that's the way it's going to go now. I mean, if the guys are, want that little bit of security, and perhaps, worrying about a bit of form and what have you, you're going to, of course, you're going to break their arm off for a 3-year contract. But if you're top of your game, I don't think that is anything to do with Ben Stokes not wanting to play for England. I think he's just.
Yeah,
it's negotiated.
It's a negotiation ploy. I think he's been very open, and Rob Key said that is exactly the case.
Absolutely, and I think that's there's a few quid knocking about in cricket now.
Yeah, there certainly is, especially with the.
Not in my day.
No,
not
you'd
in
have
my
loved that.
The Saudi. I mean, the Saudi. They looks like we could have live cricket coming soon as well.
Well, yes, and it's in the Olympics over in America, which could be huge. I mean, because there's a few. There is a tournament out in America.
Yeah.
And if that can just sort of the eyeballs on the Olympics would be great for the game.
Yeah. Well, Phil, lovely to see you.
And you, mate.
Thank you
and
very
boys.
much for
Nice
coming
to see
in.
you, lads.
Phil Tufnell's the tourist. What happens on tour stays on tour until now.
Oh, yes.
Beautifully, just an impromptu shot they got of Phil out and about one day on the cover. It doesn't look posed or anything. But it's a lot of fun. There's some great old stories in there. Yeah. Published by HarperCollins, out in hardback now. We will see you soon.
Cheers, boys.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.